just jump right into it, okay?
Yeah.
Great.
Right. Okay, so you guys have a dysfunctional yet extremely realistic brother-sister relationship. What have you guys done to build the necessary chemistry to make your sibling dynamic feel authentic?
I feel like, I'm lucky to have known Katie and Delaney for a while. Delaney Buffett, who wrote and with Katie wrote the film and directed it. And I know them through Marie Nikolova, who works with me, and I've known for many years. So there exists a kind of natural, and Marie and Katie and Delaney have known each other for many years. So there's an inherent familiarity, I think that we relied on, and it's a dynamic that is really fun to explore, and Delaney and Katie created characters in a story that I think reflect that. So it wasn't particularly difficult to generate that dynamic for me anyway. I don't know, maybe Katie has a different experience of it.
I mean, no, I always kind of pull that as my favorite experience on set, the scenes filming with Zach as Henry, because one, he has been such a mentor to Delaney and me like throughout the years that being able to actually work alongside him on camera was like very exciting for me. But also he helped Delaney and me develop the character. So he knew it just as intimately as we did as the writers. And Henry, the brother, just became one of my favorite characters. I was so excited to like actually see the scene come to life. And just from the first kind of read through that morning, I was just Zach just like completely blew us away. And it was so fun to see Henry like in the flesh.
Great, that's amazing. Katie, you guys both mentioned it a few moments ago. You and Delaney actually grew up together. You guys created the film to capture the joy of, growing up with a best friend and potentially growing apart from your best friend. How did your friendship in real life guide you through your character's emotional arc, for one? And does the relationship in the film reflect how things are in real life?
So yes, we really have been best friends since we were 10 years old. And there's a lot of elements of truth in the movie. I would say mostly emotional. The actual plot points we made up. Thankfully, none of this happened. Thank God. Um, but over the course of our lives together, there's a million things that put a strain on a friendship, going to different schools, working in different towns, relationships, sure, work schedules. So I think everyone can kind of feel that pull of like the busier my life gets, where does my friend fit in? And then especially a childhood friend, because when you're younger, you're best friends because you like all the same stuff and you're together 24/7. So once that's no longer the case, like what does it mean? We kind of have to renegotiate the terms of the friendship. But it definitely helped us. We thankfully were able to kind of navigate, different relationships and different strains pretty well. We're very communicative with one another. But I thought it was an important story to tell, and Delaney definitely agreed that friendships when you get older kind of get the short end of the stick. You focus on a lot of other stuff. So we wanted to make sure we were able to highlight it.
Perfect. And you guys highlighted that extremely well, by the way. Zach, your character Henry is a lot different from your previous work. How did you approach this comedic role? Did you draw from any specific research or personal experiences?
I love the opportunity to do comedy. So for me, it was really about leaning into the tone that Delaney was setting for the project, and that Katie and Delaney created when they wrote it, and then playing in the world. We were lucky to have Heather Mazer to play my wife, and I've known Heather Mazer since I have been 11 years old. And so there was also, yeah, she's a longtime friend, and so there was also that familiarity and that comfort, and made it so much easier. But yeah, I mean, it was just fun. I was only there for a day, and I had known the project intimately, as Katie said, so I knew what they wanted to achieve with it. We had talked about it, and so it was a fun experience for me. It wasn't stressful. It wasn't challenging in the sense of I had been around the project. Sometimes you show up to something and there's the intensity of not exactly knowing what a director wants or what the thing should be. And if you're only coming into something for a brief amount of time, then um, that can be slightly daunting. But in this case, it was just a bunch of friends. That's the great thing about this project for me in so many ways is it really is. It's called Adult Best Friends, but it really is a bunch of friends who came together to tell the story. And I think it's also part of the reason why it's so successful is that it reflects that spirit of friendship and connectivity. Excuse me,
Bless
sneeze.
you. Bless you. Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you for that. So the cinematography and tone of Adult Best Friends have a very intimate feel, just like you mentioned, Zach. Katie, talk to me about the collaboration process in terms of making sure the visual style complemented the story and themes.
Well, I can only kind of speak to what I picked up on as an actor and a writer. Delaney was the director, and she did such a fantastic job setting like a visual tone and an emotional tone with all of her decisions in that role. But we definitely wanted it to have like a nostalgic feel to kind of ground the relationship that we have, especially since it was going back to, the early 2000s. And those are the movies that we grew up watching together. So from the writing to the costumes and the color, all of that, I think we wanted it to feel, like you said, very intimate, but also very casual, and hopefully nostalgic.
Thank you. Staying with you, Katie, as a co-writer and actress, what advice would you give for aspiring filmmakers, looking to a film festival?
Looking to go to a film festival?
Oh, right for a film festival.
Um, I mean, it's extremely, it can be extremely, I'm trying to think of a word that's not too depressing. It can be extremely discouraging. It really, really can be. I mean, everyone knows that for entertainment, it's an industry of rejection, but the actual feeling of that, you do start to question yourself. You're like, maybe I'm just totally wrong here. If I'm getting 100 no's, like maybe I'm wrong. But I think if you genuinely believe in what you're doing and you just keep getting back up to try, and that's submitting, that's taking classes, that's taking notes, that's, not taking every note. Like you just have to stay in the saddle. And I think you'll start to get traction. And then secondly, and this is advice that Zach gave us when we very first started working together, be ready when you get your chance. They don't come around very often. So once you actually have a window of opportunity open, you need to know exactly what you want to do and what you want to say.
Wow, that's perfect. Perfectly said. Thank you. My next question is for both of you. In the movie, Katie chose the beach to break the engagement news because it was her and Delaney's favorite getaway spot. What's your favorite getaway spot in real life?
Oh, wow. It depends on what I want to experience in terms of travel. I love to travel. I really love London. I love to go to London and see my friends there and see theater, and it's not so difficult to get there from New York. So I would say at this moment, like if I had to choose a place to go today, I'd probably pop over to London.
Awesome.
I, if I'm being totally honest, my most rejuvenating spot is like the sofa, my house, locked away. Like,
That's
doing
fair.
it all is where I recharge. But if I want to give a better answer, I would say Australia, maybe a town called Yamba.
Mm.
Interesting. I've never heard of that town. So,
It's just a little town, yeah, but it's very, I don't know, relaxing, small.
okay, nice.
Rooster,
Great.
Katie?
Hmm?
Not the rooster.
Oh no, that's actually a really good one too. Yeah, maybe Auntie Peros in Greece. Maybe not my sofa. Let's delete that one. Now that I'm traveling, have my
Let's
passport.
get rid of that one.
I mean, both are very understandable. Do you guys have any favorite or memorable behind the scenes moments?
I feel like for me, it was again, I was only there for one day, unfortunately. So the whole thing is a fond memory. I really enjoyed working both with Katie and with Mason, and also with my dear friend. Bringing being able to invite um, my friend Heather to come into this experience was really enjoyable for me. So I feel like I just look back on that whole day as really fun and efficient. Delaney did a really great job knowing what she wanted and executing it. And yeah, so my fondest behind the scenes memory is the one day that I worked on the movie.
I always say that Zach's day was my favorite day, but I won't repeat. Um, I will say, without giving anything away, the day that we shot what I would call the emotional climax of the movie, there's a monologue where we kind of discuss all in all what this friendship has meant to us, in the course of our lives. And it felt very exposing because so much of the material is, extremely authentic. But at the end of the day, I was just really happy to have said it all and felt it all as genuinely as I could. Because I do feel so lucky to have an adult best friend that's lasted all these years, and to be able to convey to them what it means to me felt really important to me.
Thank you.
I
Great.
would
That's
say
great.
also just to add on to that, I think like of the day, now that I'm thinking about it, my favorite part of the day that I was there was the end of the day. We filmed a wedding scene, and it was really, first of all, what Henry gets to do in that scene. I just loved, and I loved playing with it, and I loved the experience of filming it. But also, again, you know. A comment on the resourcefulness of Delaney and Katie and Marie, who produced the movie with them on the ground every day. Marie, who works with me at my production company. It was so incredible to see all of the people that came together to be the guests at the wedding. And they were all people from everybody's life, that came to support. And there was such a sense of community and family in that moment that I think of the experiences that I had working on the film and working with Katie and Delaney in the development of the film, that culmination was probably the most meaningful thing to witness and to be a part of.
Wow, thank you. Thank you so much. As adults, we all understand the challenges of maintaining friendships. What would you two say is the most important virtue or key to sustaining a healthy adult friendship?
Honesty, for me, communication, openness, being able to share how I'm feeling and be open to how my friends are feeling, and to be able to show up in that way, just with real, yeah, honesty and humor.
Humor is important.
I would say, if all else is off the table, I would say maybe empathy in your in your kind of expectations of people. Everyone has so much going on that I think it's important to kind of stop, and before you're taking something personally, wonder how they might be feeling, if they need a little more support, if you need a little more support, and just always kind of re-examining what the relationship needs.
Great. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, my last question would be, are there any upcoming projects that you guys are excited about or are working on?
Yeah,
For Yeah, I mean, we have a script that we have finished that is more of a traditional rom-com. And we are hoping to be able to bring it to life. Adult Best Friends is kind of our calling card at this point. So we'd love to do this again on a larger scale, take on more responsibility, and it'd be very exciting.
it's really so exciting to watch Delaney and Katie's evolution. We've been developing projects with them for a while and started in television projects. And then, when this film came along, again, it was their resourcefulness to creating this next project has been really thrilling for me as a producer and as their friend. Really exciting and gratifying. I'm so proud of them, and I'm so happy to support them in any way that I can, and to watch them step into these fuller versions of themselves as writers and filmmakers and actors. It's really quite exciting.
Hey, I love that. Thank you. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy your weekend. Thank you again for meeting with me.
Thank you so much.